There are letters I've never sent. But if there's one I should have written long ago, it would be the one to the person who changed me. I still remember those years when everything in me was young, reckless enough to believe that love could last forever. That was when I met you. It felt effortless, like walking into sunlight after a long winter. We laughed without counting time. We dreamed like nothing could ever fall apart. Back then, forever didn't seem like a promise. It felt like a fact. But forever, as it turns out, doesn't last that long. Things didn't end in chaos or shouting. They simply faded, slowly, quietly, like rain falling every day, soft enough that you don't notice the color draining from the sky. And one morning, I woke up realizing we had already drifted apart. I was angry for a long time, angry at the silence that replaced your words. Angry at the empty space where you used to be. I told myself I was broken because of you, that your leaving was what turned me into someone closed off, guarded, and afraid to trust. But maybe that wasn't true. Maybe I had always been waiting for someone else to decide how I should feel. And maybe, without realizing it, that was where the real story began. Years later, on an ordinary afternoon, I was walking through the park. The air was warm, and the trees were whispering with the wind. I saw a young couple sitting on a bench laughing, the kind of laughter that comes when you still believe the world will bend to your dreams. For a brief moment, I saw us the way we used to be. And strangely, I didn't feel bitter. I didn't feel envy. I just smiled. That night, I caught my reflection in the mirror. The face looking back wasn't the young man I remembered. There were lines now, not just of age, but of living. And in that quiet moment, I realized something I had never understood before. The person I became, the one who built walls and learned to stay silent, was not your creation. It was mine. I had chosen to let your absence define me. I had chosen to live in reaction to what you did, instead of responding with who I could become. That realization hit me harder than heartbreak ever did. Because it meant I could no longer blame you. It meant I had to take back responsibility, not for what happened, but for what I would do next. And so, that night, I made a choice. Not to forget, not to erase, but to release. To stop replaying the same story where I was always the one left behind. To start writing a new one, where I could stand, on my own, without resentment weighing me down. The anger didn't disappear overnight. It faded slowly, like mist at sunrise. But each day, it lifted a little more. Until one morning, I looked in the mirror again, and for the first time in years, I saw someone at peace. I used to think you were the one who broke me. Now I know, you were the one who made me grow. From that moment on, I began to live differently. I learned to listen to myself, to the quiet voice I used to silence just to please others. I learned to say no when something drained my soul. I learned to love without losing who I am. It wasn't easy. Healing rarely is. Some days, the past still knocked on my door, asking to be remembered. And some nights, I still caught myself replaying old scenes. What you said, what I didn't say, what I wished I could have changed. But I no longer lived there. I simply smiled, nodded to the memory, and let it pass. One day, I read a line that stayed with me. We cannot choose who walks into our lives, but we can choose who gets to stay. Once, I chose you. Now, I choose peace. Sometimes I still think about those afternoons. The sunlight on your hair, the way laughter echoed between us, the tiny details that used to hurt when I remembered them. But they don't hurt anymore. They've become small pieces of a story I no longer fight against. I've come to understand that forgiveness isn't about giving you something. It's about giving myself permission to live again, to breathe without bitterness, to wake up each morning not defined by loss, but guided by gratitude. If I could send you this letter, I'd keep it simple. Thank you for being the one who changed me. Because of you, I learned how to stand on my own 2 feet and walk forward with an open heart. And as I set this letter down, I smile, knowing that peace is not something found, it's something chosen, one day at a time. Herb, we cannot control what happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. And sometimes, The strongest response is simply choosing peace for ourselves.